before we move on to our first panel discussion of the day, we invite you all to participate in a quick interactive poll. So I'll just help you all through the steps so that we can go ahead with the poll. So this poll is to help us gauge your perspectives and to shape the discussion ahead. So these are the steps that you need to follow. First, you don't need to download any app. You just need to visit pigeonhole.at on your mobile. That's pigeonhole.at on your phone. Okay, and then you can enter the passcode which is displayed on the screen. So we will be displaying the password. It's over there, D9NXNKX4, that's the passcode. Or you can scan the QR code which is on your table. And once you're logged in, you will see the poll questions. There'll be 4 answer options. So you can select the one which best represents your view. So all the instructions are visible on the screen and on the information stands which are in front of you. So as you proceed with this, I also request Sri Rajiv Jalota to kindly come on the dais as we would like to present a memento as a token of our appreciation. And I request Ms. Pinky Mehta, Mr. Anil Radhakrishnan and Mr. Sandeep Khosla to kindly join us on the dais. So thank you all for your participation, and we'll be sharing the poll results shortly. So this is the question that you can see. We now begin our first panel discussion of the day, focusing on sustainability and green initiatives, goals and pathways for India 2047 and IMO 2050. I'm pleased to invite our session chairman and moderator to the dais, Dr. Pandurang Raut, IRS Deputy Director General of Shipping, the Directorate General of Shipping, Government of India. And joining him on the dais are our esteemed speakers, Mr. Ajay Singh Kumar, Head of Maritime Advisory, India DNV, Dr. R.D. Tripathi, CEO, Mumbai Port Sustainability Foundation, Mr. Rampraveen Swaminathan, MD and CEO, Mahindra Logistics, Mr. Suresh Amirapu, Advisor, PSA India, and Mr. Abhay Udeshi, Chairman, CHEMEXCIL.
It's good afternoon, everyone, and welcome you all to our panel discussion. Without going into details, I hope that the pamphlet circulated before the conference might have been reached to all of you, and you got the details about the panelists also. So, the subject given to this panel is Sustainability and Green Initiatives, Goals and Pathways, India 2047 and IMO 2050. So let us dive deep into the insights given by our panelists in this issue. As we look ahead, we are going to celebrate the centenary in 2047 for India's independence. And our vision is very clear now. We want to become a nation which is economically resilient, environmentally responsible, and eagerly willing to be a leader in green shipping Within this journey, the maritime sector holds a very critical position as it is one of the major polluters in the form of GHG gas emission. As Sri Raju Jalota sir has told that it is contributing 3% of global emission. And on other aspect, it is also providing immense significant challenges and opportunities to lead India in the world of green shipping and having the sustainability need. So, Maritime India Vision 2030, we have already begun our journey towards this transition. So, we have developed a comprehensive strategy to transform our ports into green ports and smart hubs. Various initiatives have been taken by the government in this regard. Our ports are transiting to renewable energy sources, aiming to become carbon neutral hubs in coming decades. Rooftop solar installations, wind farms near our ports, and renewable energy resources projects in the ports is the significant outcome of that. The government is also promoting adoption of alternative fuels, like many green fuels like green hydrogen, ammonia, which can decarbonize our shipping industry and significantly reduce the emissions. So we are also investing heavily on the electrification of our port operations and sure to ship power supply mechanisms to reduce the emissions from the ships which are berthing at the port. International Maritime Organization has revised its strategy of 2050 to reach the net zero GHG emissions by from the international shipping, that is nearly or close to 2050. Achieving this will require both regulatory changes and industry-wise innovations. India is fully committed with this vision. As a major maritime nation, we understand our responsibility to be part of the global solution. The Director General of Shipping has taken significant steps. We are adopting the IMO standards such as Energy Efficiency Design Index and Carbon Intensity Indicator to ensure the new vessels are more energy efficient and environmental friendly. To support ship to LNG, biofuels and other low carbon fuels, regulatory frameworks are being established to ensure that these new technologies can be scaled up more safely and effectively. It requires capacity building and training to our industry's workforce. So we are also equipping ourselves with the skills to handle the new era of green technology. We have developed the training program for upskilling initiatives to ensure India's maritime workforce remain future ready for this transition. There are other initiatives in the form of new policies are being implemented to encourage fleet modernization, incentivize the adoption of low emission fuels and promote indigenous shipbuilding. The Directorate is also strengthening ties with international bodies and private sector stakeholders to promote knowledge exchange and accelerate adoption of best practices. Digital transformation is the heart of all this. So automation and digitization of port operations are being encouraged to enhance operational efficiency, reduce the resource consumption, and minimize the waste. These all activities are coming with greater amount of challenges and opportunities also. But we are ready to face these challenges and embrace these opportunities as we have a young, skilled workforce ready to embrace green technologies. Our rapidly growing renewable energy sector offers synergies with the maritime industry. And most importantly, we have a shared national resolve to achieve the sustainability. So this is background for this particular panel discussion. So without wasting our time, we will directly go to the panelists one by one, and we will ask them some of their questions to know their views and their understanding. So first I will go to Mr. Rampraveen Swaminathan. He is the MD and CEO of Mahindra Logistics. Sir, Mahindra Logistics has been at the forefront of promoting the sustainable logistic practices in India. We want to know the initiatives that has been taken by the company to reduce a carbon footprint and how can other companies will also become the part of this particular suit.
Good afternoon, and first, thank you for having me here. I'm probably a bit of the odd one here because I don't do much of our business isn't a lot of shipping on maritime work. I think let me just begin first with the customer because I think that's very important. When we talk about energy transition, I think the key thing is what are customers thinking and how are they looking at it. A couple of years ago, we did a joint study with the CI Institute of Logistics, and I think one thing which came out of that was nearly 83% of India's chief supply chain officers and CEOs did list sustainability as one of their top 3 concerns, and that clearly, therefore, it's an important factor in everyone's mind. Obviously, logistics, both scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3 across all of them remains an important part of that because logistics is 17-18% of total carbon emissions, and probably road transport is around 44-45% of that. So, and very important part of that jigsaw puzzle. At the same time, I think while customers show a lot of interest in this being important to them, I think on the ground urgency fluctuates a lot. And somebody was asking me earlier today, do we see customers paying a premium for that? And I think we don't see customers actively paying a premium for logistics. So I think you have this natural dichotomy between intent and action, which I think is probably not completely inconsistent with a lot of transformation. And it's probably the reason why the top recommend, I think in the Q&A, one big part is probably incentives as an action item. What we've been doing, of course, has been on multiple parameters. Just to give you context, we are nearly 90% surface transport, domestic in India. And we've been really doing 4 things in the business. The first one is shifting towards more multimodal offerings. So today, nearly 17% of our cargo actually moves on rail, as opposed to the point-to-point trucking-based transportation. So that's been a big shift for us. And as we see the evolution of direct freight corridors, I think that will become even larger impetus for us. The second one, obviously, is decarbonizing our trucking operations. And we've been doing that both in terms of improving operational efficiencies, where we have been able to bring 10 to 12% reduction in carbon footprint on different customers. And of course, we have been investing in renewable or alternate fuel-based technologies. We have India's largest electric vehicle fleet, nearly 2,000 vehicles. We operate CNG, LNG, and in our last mile delivery operations, roughly 60% of our business now is on alternate fuel or is electric, right? And that's a fairly significant investment we made. The third thing, obviously, is our warehousing. We now have invested in nearly 7 million square feet of what we call sustainable warehousing, both in terms of design, construction, and operating practices. So those all IGBC or LEED certified buildings, generally platinum certified buildings, and they're 100% renewably powered. So that's the third investment which we have made significantly. And the last one, of course, and the most important one, I think, is working closely with customers to drive their transition. So we have actually built out a digital platform which allows you to reports out GLEG certified emissions data for your entire operating assets, whether it's trucks, including when we have a freight forwarding business, so including data for air and sea shipments. It provides you data real time on a daily basis, and we can tailor it for consignment, for truckload, for actually per package. To some car companies, we actually report CO2 footprint by car, right? And that's very important because I think unless we can help our customers show an interest in driving their energy transition, I don't think we can actually do it. And I say we, including probably all of you, and then we serve other customers, and we are all delivering derived demand, if you may. And so unless we can make that shift with our customers, you can't do that. So those are just 4 things which we're doing. Obviously, a little bit more happens, but those are the 4 big things which we're working on.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. But how the other companies, which are also playing the similar role, can adopt and take some help from you?
No, I think there is the two dimensions, of course. I think the logistics industry is quite layered. It's not just one layer. We operate at a specific layer of the industry. I think that three things which we are doing. I think one is, at one level, there's a lack of technology. Look at, especially on vehicles, there's a limitation of how much, we don't have, in India, for example, the largest electric vehicle we have running at scale is less than 1 ton. Right? So that's a very fundamental problem. So I think we're doing three things. I think in addition to policy, we're working with OEMs to launch new products. So we are working with them on piloting new products, working on developing business cases with them. I think the second thing is with a lot of smaller transporters, which typically is scope 3 for everyone. We are putting a lot of effort to educate them and guide them to learn sustainable practices and provide them assistance and support. And of course, within the industry, we all work together in terms of trying to promote sustainability. I think the challenge still remains, I think the mindset shift which is also required. Everyone's asking, will customers pay for it? I think we have to, when it comes to sustainable logistics, as investors, we also have to change the frame of our thinking. It has to be more long term. So if I'm building a warehouse now, we are building a warehouse for 10 years. That's the only way I can justify the investment I have to make it platinum certified. But I think there's an economic sense to it, because in 3 or 4 years, the customer might start wanting it, even if they don't want it today. So I think as an industry as well, we have to learn to balance that. And we work a lot. So for example, with Amazon and Uber, we have developed a program called Joule, which is the Climate Pledge Foundation, where we actually, in the last mile, providing 100% renewably powered facilities, last mile delivery. So it's not one, I don't think it's just one silver bullet to the problem. I think there are 3-4 things which we are doing with others in the industry to kind of help drive this change, because unless everybody's share rises, I think we will not be able to rise.
Thank you, sir. To reach the goal, the hand-holding is required, and thank you for that effort that you are doing for other partners also. Sir, what are the strategies that logistic companies employ to decarbonize their operations, and how can Mahindra Logistics contribute to this effort on a larger basis?
I think sustainability is an industry shift. I don't think it's a company shift. I think if we try to make it a company shift, I think we'll probably end up struggling with it. And therefore, I think at least the way we see it is every person in the ecosystem has to come together and partner. And therefore, so building thought leadership and building an ecosystem is a very active part of what we are trying to do today. And I think a lot of that essentially ends up doing 2-3 things. Either, I think one thing is creating joint infrastructure. So as I said, in Bangalore, we've done this project called Joule, through which we actually provide renewable energy powered last mile delivery and mobility. So that's a partnership we have done with Amazon, with Uber, with the Climate Pledge Foundation. We established our first installation in Bangalore, and a few more are coming. We are working on a partnership called Lane Shift, which looks at using sustainable technologies in renewable energies on line haul trucks, which is long distance trucking. And I think also we are doing some work with individual organizations to kind of promote it. So I think building this ecosystem is extremely important to do it, and that includes underwriting demand. A lot of small companies struggle to actually. A lot of small owners struggle to buy electric vehicles because there's no residual value for it. So one of the things we have been trying to do is actually promote driver cum owners in small electric trucks by giving them long-term contracts and saying that, listen, you buy electric vehicles, we'll pay a bit of a premium for it. We'll underwrite demand for 3-4 years. It's a Mahindra contract, so you can get financing from a vendor. So it's really trying to enrich the ecosystem through partnerships. And in our industry, those partnerships are not just with large companies. The 75% of India's trucks are owned by people who have less than 5 trucks. So it's really working with the MSMEs and working with the smaller driver cum owners and trying to encourage them to kind of find this as a way forward. And that green is not is not going to come, is not a premium in cost, that we can actually find a way through it.
Thank you. Sir, the stakeholder engagement is a very critical for promoting the sustainability and driving the change. How the logistic companies like yours one engaging the other stakeholders to promote the sustainability and drive the change, and what benefits that you are getting and what are the challenges that you are visualizing?
I think it's an ongoing effort. There is, and probably we've had limited, I think we have differential success. As I said, I think with, we have 3 or 4 big stakeholders, obviously the suppliers to us, the customers to us, there's the government, and then we are a services company, so we use equipment which others make. And we are working with each of them in different ways. I think as I said, OEMs, we are working on how we can develop and launch new platforms, how we can support their development programs to launch new vehicles. I think with other people in the industry, we're obviously working. I think the most success, let me talk about where we have the most success and least success. I think the most success actually has been with small transporters and MSMEs, where I think if we can give a good financial case for them with the right amount of economic security, there is, I think, been a reasonable interest in shifting. And therefore, we have a lot of partners today who have LNG vehicles, who have CNG vehicles, who have electric vehicles in their fleet as well. And we obviously have to model in certain amount of economic security and benefit for them, but that actually has been fairly successful for us. I think what has been less successful is, in India, the entire incentives for sustainability is around the equipment layer and not around the services layer, while the risk is actually taken a lot by the services layer, because the obsolescence of technology is a risk the asset owner takes, not the asset manufacturer. So therefore, we take, unless technology will change rapidly, either new technology comes with a high premium on cost and also carries an obsolescence risk in terms of replacement. And there isn't a lot of incentives which actively supports that service layer in the industry. And that's something which we have been working with different stakeholders, but I would say not probably had as much success as you would like to have seen.
Thank you, sir. We hope that you will be getting the news resolved and new solutions to resolve these issues. So now we'll move towards the Head of Maritime Advisory, India, DNV, Mr. Ajay Kumar Singh, sir. Sir, you have extensive experience in the maritime industry. And it is highlighted that the maritime sector has dual role, both as the economic driver and a critical player in combating climate change. We just want to know how to bring a delicate balance between these two extreme points.
Thank you, Dr. Raut, for the question, and happy to have your thank you to BCCI. Well, I agree on what you said, Dr. Raut. For maritime sector have a dual role for economic growth as well as combating climate changes. There we need to follow some key strategies to evolve moving ahead in the direction. First of all, we need to decarbonize the shipping. There are ways of doing it. Number one could be adopting cleaner fuels, which is transitioning of your conventional fuel to alternative fuels, which is LNG, methanol, ammonia, hydrogen. And then there is energy efficiency measures as well. For example, improvement in the hull design, cleaning of your hull. So there could be different ways of energy efficiency measures. Next, I would tell here investment in green technologies, such as utilizing your solar, wind energy, especially into ports and all, where you can optimize these things and can have more greener options. Apart from that, I would say there would be need of regulatory compliances. We know we are in a world where there is a web of international, national, local, regional sort of compliances everywhere. And this could be a challenge for the ship owners and the other stakeholders working in the industry. However, we need to deal with it. And there need to be also engagement of PPP, which is public-private partnerships, where more collaboration will lead to innovations, R&Ds, research and developments, and this will also create more jobs. So these are some key areas, I would say, where collaborative is not the only solution, but a mix of all can be good for for the maritime industry to move ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, there is a constant pressure from the expert to early adoption of alternate fuels. And we just wanted to know the experience of India, basically both from the private sector side also and the governmental side also, about the challenges, key challenges and opportunities for adopting these greener fuels. And how can we accelerate this pace of adoption? Please.
Thank you, Dr. Raut, for the question. Well, if you see, there are a lot of initiatives from the government recently. There is Harit Sagar guidelines for the ports. There is Maritime India Vision 2030. There is National Hydrogen Mission. So you could see that the government can sense it that we need to move ahead with the pace. And I could see there is happening around as well in India at the moment. Talking about alternative fuels, I know that the government currently looking after for multiple options. Very close, I would say here, LNG. Subsequently, there is methanol. We know that one of the major port in India, the west coast of India, is looking after methanol bunkering facility at the moment. I won't name that. And then there is ammonia as well. How we know that it is little toxic. We cannot handle it safely. But I know that people are moving in a good direction, and this will definitely create an demand in future. Talking about infrastructural development, there are issues such as storage, handling, bunkering is not that easy. Government again pushing it too hard for that. Again, talking about initial cost for moving to alternative fuels is not that easy. Retrofitting is costly, and investing in new technologies again brings up the additional cost. So there are some challenges. However, adopting this all initiatives, I believe this will help us in cutting down the emissions. And again, as I mentioned, this will create jobs. So there are challenges. However, it comes with the opportunity as well at the same time. Yeah.
Thank you. We have heard from Sri Raju Jalota sir that we are having so many collaborations with other international big players, other countries. One of the more important collaboration is with Norway. So we just wanted to know the key recommendations from your side and how India can benefit from the Norwegian green shipping program to make our future more greener.
Well, I come from DNV, and DNV is a Norwegian company. Happy to say that we are facilitating green shipping program in Norway. First of all, we need to understand what do you mean by green shipping program. Green shipping program aims to establish efficient and environmental friendly methods in Norway. And currently, there are more than 100 partners into it, and around more than 40 pilot projects running. It could be more, I'm just giving you the high level numbers. We did something similar for domestic shipping in India. We published a white paper on Indian Coastal Green Shipping Program back in 2022 with the support from DG Shipping and the Norwegian Consulate General Mumbai. I would say there are very good recommendations for India to follow. Not exactly the same because the geographies are different, government is different, but still there are some of the recommendations which could be helpful to India, such as number one could be establishment of knowledge clusters in India, which can bring the players in from different stakeholders and help innovate and move ahead economically. Second could be introducing CO2 funds. For example, if someone is emitting more, could be the tax will be given to them, and then the money which is coming from that tax we can be utilizing into green schemes. We need to also have understanding of the green corridors. I believe this is again important. I know that some of the ports in India are looking into it and want to be part of the green corridors, which, for example, there is a Singapore-Rotterdam green corridor at the moment, and one of the port is working towards it. It's very good to know that. And very important, there has to be reinforcement of ship owners' financial capabilities. A lot of ship owners are confused. Government is putting laws, regulations. Who's gonna put the money in? So there has to be some reinforcement for ship owners, such as, for example, maybe easy loans from the banks or maybe some other strategies so that they can easily get the money for capitalizing their investments and move ahead with this one. So these are some of the initiatives and recommendations. I would say that if we follow, we can follow the same green shipping program what is happening in Norway. Yeah.
Thank you. Even government has also come up with Maritime Development Fund in this budget. But sir, as per your understanding, we just wanted to know the key challenges for ensuring compliance and enforcing the regulations for the sustainable and green initiatives in the maritime industry, and how to promote the sustainable and responsible supply chain management services.
Thank you, Dr. Raut, for the question. Again, the answer will be almost similar to what I answered previously. The first challenge here is the infrastructural development. We talk a lot, but then the ground reality need to be improved. There has to be uniform regulations. As I mentioned, we are currently having international, national, lot of different regulations across the world. We need to come somewhere in the uniformity. We cannot just confuse the stakeholders everywhere. So these are the two major challenges I would say here. And then again, talking about who's going to put the money in. So there has to be joint industry project or collaborations with different stakeholders, PPPs, to think about who can be the leading party here and who could be the supporting party. So this should be some of the areas where I believe should be reinforced and look into it to move ahead in a direction where challenges are of course there, but we need to look for the solutions.
Thank you. Even recently, we have launched the draft green shipping policy. Last week, we have concluded the DG Shipping IMEI Green Shipping Conclave. So now, let us move towards Dr. R.D. Tripathi, who is the CEO of Mumbai Port Sustainability Foundation. Sir, we wanted to know what are the initiatives that your foundation has taken and will be taking in the future for making our industry as more greener.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for bringing me here. And basically, two things already you have said that Mumbai Port Sustainability Foundation and what are we are doing. So we first established a Center of Excellence on ESG and circularity. Now question comes, why there are so many ESG firms and companies are working, then why you need a Center of Excellence on ESG? The basic difference in the approach of our approach and the firms, consultancy firms doing ESG is a ranking ESG, filing of the ESG information, legal compliance, or all the things that they do. Our approach is that is called FESG. You may think, what is this FESG? See, once you go to ESG firms or ESG consultant, they will say you need to do this air, water, biodiversity, all these things. Then you say, I don't have money. They say, okay, but you have to do this. I have no other option. I can recommend this only. Our approach is different. The sustainability basically is a part of sustainability. ESG, you say anything, greening, carbon, they are different verticals. But FESG means the basic sustainability. The sustainability has three components. First is environmental sustainability. Second one, financial sustainability. And third one is social sustainability. Either you term it in the terms of administration, governance, E is coming both way, but finance is missing somewhere. And I am at present sitting in the Chamber of Commerce, and basically if there is no business, there is no money, nothing will move. So either we talk about Paris Agreement, we talk about all these things, international, national, all the things. Ultimately, where it gets stuck, where is the money? So if there is no financial sustainability, nothing will move. We try to analyze the specific problems of all the FASC aspect and come out with the problem areas where with minimum investment or with minimum without affecting your what's called financials, what we can do to become more sustainable. So sustainability is one aspect. Secondly, in that line, we do so many things like on greening aspect, whatever has been discussed, all those things we are green, fuel promotion and green fuel, what are the infrastructure is required for bunkering and all things. Basically, we are working for the entire logistic chain, not only for port or the ship. Although my basic background since has been last out of 30 years, or maybe except 5 years, I have been 25 years in the port and shipping sector. So of course, I am, but my other team members are from different field. So we try to connect in circularity. We are trying to connect those people who have some surplus. I don't say anything waste. In the world, there is nothing waste. That is our belief and philosophy. Everything can be used. Every piece of what you say waste or the material can be used somewhere. Only thing, the right person we have to find and give this material to that person. Then it becomes circular economy. And a lot of benefits out of that. Then carbon assessment, standardization, basically these are the some of the points. Since this green aspect, when we say now we are doing a lot of green action, some I have met in my few years of career, you can say, I have met number of people who say I have bought some 20 vehicles, green vehicles, EVs, means my system has become green. It is not that. Basically, if you see a company who is doing financing, and if they align their finance to the greening only, they are doing much better impact than a person who is buying 10 or 20 vehicles, or 30 vehicles, 100 vehicles, maybe anything. So question is that how you look and how you try to infuse with the system so that your overall performance goes better. And I feel, rather my entire team, we are in a culture that nothing is customized solution. No technology is suited to other one. Work together. Our motto is let's work together. We work together and find the solution, because every organization's capability in terms and the circumstances in which it operates, these two are entirely different. No company can be replicated, or the policies can be replicated in other company. So that way we take this our Center of Excellence on ESG and circularity. Although in E part we are doing a lot of other work, like for protection of ecosystem, then green fuel, and we have launched one system because I have seen in the world over, there is no certification, or there is no third party accreditation where you can say, yes, you have done this much, I am guaranteeing you that he is a green up to this level. So for that, basically for the ports and terminals, we came out with the Green Port Certification Scheme. There we are giving 3 levels of certification, and we have number of parameters. It is available in the website. Out of 30 parameters, if any port or terminal is doing action means it has to be verified and independently verified. If at least 3 parameters they are taken, so they become eligible for the certification. There are different level of certification, means that gives you the customer or the person who is coming in contact with that organization, they learn, yes, whatever your efforts, that is within this limit, and you have a continuous effort. This commitment and the commitment, resources, and the continuous improvement, these 3 things are in place. So that certification we have started a few. I am having the discussion with few terminals, and 2 ports are under process of evaluation. The evaluation is done totally different. We don't do evaluation. We appoint verifiers from the panel, and but those verifiers which have been appointed, they must not have worked in their lifetime in that port, or they must have not got benefited with the port in any way. So that is the credibility we are trying to maintain. So that is a brief about us.
Thank you, sir. You are leading a very nascent foundation, and with your rich experience, this nascent foundation will grow very fast. Sir, we also want to hear from you how the ports can engage with the stakeholders for achieving the sustainability, and what are the challenges and the benefits ahead with these ports, particularly to go for the more greener initiatives in this sector.
Ports interaction linkage.
Yes, ports and stakeholder interaction.
Okay. Right. Ports, when we say, I'm just sharing my experience. When we normally feel the ports is a notified area, working with and interacting with the ships, other people don't know, big boundary wall, in that something is happening. People who is not from the logistics sector or who don't have direct connection with the ports, they don't enter in the port and they don't understand what is happening. So this I have experienced, and basic thing is that with the help and rather direction of our earlier chairman, Director sir, he also had this feeling that we should have more connect with the people, those who are outside boundary and they don't come across the working of the port. We had just 2 months back, we had a initiative 1 week, bringing the community from outside of the port fraternity to inside, and people from Mumbai, I think more than 3,000 people from Mumbai have visited, and from other areas, especially those who are not from port. That was one, and some of their joy and their interactions, it was very inspirational for us. That is one part. For the people who are not connected with port, now I am coming to the people who are connected with the port. The people who are connected with the port, there are in the port system normally, because I have worked almost entire my part of the thing in the port. So we feel that for outside world, there is only one officer and his team. They interact with the people, and suppose the officer is good, means he is very, what I can say, proactive. So then information and the custom and all the things will go better. Otherwise, it will be a different one. As a part of ESG, if you see, unless you have a good connect with the people, connect means these are the stakeholders, basically the people who are coming. What are their issues? What are their problems? So though we try to, as a foundation, we are trying to interact with the ports and try to bring much more and more either informal or formal interaction with the community, and is this type of logistic community. And not only logistic community, rather the end users also. Because end user ultimately tells you the problem what they are getting. Why initially I said F? Because ultimately end user is paying you the F money. Yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. again come to you.
Right.
Now we'll move to another stakeholder led by Mr. Suresh Amirapu ji, who is advisor to PSC India. Sir, what are the challenges and opportunities that PSC India has faced in implementing the green initiatives across its operation, not only in India, but at other places also?
Thank you, sir. Firstly, a quick word of thanks to the Bombay Chamber for giving us this opportunity and to the session chair for his very insightful question. Yes, that's correct. PSA is a GTO, a global terminal operator, and we operate in 34 countries. So we do have some exposure to what is done in different parts of the world. First, let me talk about the opportunities. I think the first opportunity for us in PSA India is that we are operating in India. And on this aspect, where India has worked towards sustainability goals, green initiatives, is quite impressive. I think India is one of the earliest countries to sign up on UN SDGs. And then, as you all know, it's an active participant in all the international conventions, whether it's Paris, Glasgow, Azerbaijan, all these. So from policy level, from the government level, the thrust is quite a lot. The second thing is that the message has been spread quite sectorially, which makes our job a little easier when we come to one aspect of our opportunity, which is the interaction that we have with our various equipment suppliers, because this buzz of being sustainable has really spread across. So that's the first opportunity that I would say. As a result of that, when we talk to our vendors, then what we find is that many of them are also quite sort of aware of all this. As an example, one of the areas where quite a lot of greenhouse gases were being generated inside the port is in the form of trucks, because these trucks and trailers which are operating, here too they were all diesel. But now we find more and more of these manufacturers are moving towards either e-trucks or which are LPG based, which is reducing the overall carbon footprint. And obviously, as this increases further, then we get a better critical mass, and even the rates at which we can procure them will be more competitive. The other thing is that in a port, the biggest equipments that we use, the large cranes in container terminals, for example, STS cranes, RMGC cranes, these were anyway electrical. But we have other cranes such as RTG cranes, RST cranes, even forklifts, which were here to running on fossil fuels. Those also the manufacturers are able to give us hybrid and either e-solution, or at least those which run on less carbon generate, just GHG generating, such as LPG trucks and so forth. This has helped us immediately to address the issue of reducing the GHG emissions which come out of a port. The second thing which I would say is that at the end of the day, the port is just one of the links in the entire logistic chain, and it is dependent for many things on the links before it and the links beyond it. And here again, when it comes to sustainability, we are dependent to quite a lot of extent on other factors, other organizations, which would help us to generate or source green power, which we can't do inside the port. That has to come from outside. So here again, because we are operating in different parts of the country, in different states and DISCOMs essentially state subject. So what we find is the levels of availability, of maturity, so to speak, of handling or generating green power and making it available are different in different states in the country. And in terms of opportunity, in some of the states where we are operating very liberal policies, we are able to get open access. DISCOM is able to give us the wheeling charges. The licensor port with whom we operate has got a distribution license, so that enables us to, be an end user and source this directly. In other parts of the country, this has not moved at the same pace. So this particular aspect is both an opportunity as well as a challenge. Now, if you come to some of the other challenges, certainly we need to get a much higher degree of liberalization in terms of some of our regulatory and compliance issues, which is I think required. Some thrust is there. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty of these details, Suffice to say that when we deal with issues which are state subjects or which are state subjects, then obviously we get a different level of participation in different parts of the country. So that is as far as PSA India's experience is concerned. Now to answer Dr. Raut's question of where is this relation to internationally. Now internationally we have to also understand that different countries have got different priorities, so to speak. Europe, for example, which is a developed economy by and large, which has small populations, they can afford to go much more precise and more deeper into anything ecological. For example, as we all know, in many of the European cities, night flights are not allowed. They don't operate the ports at night because they want to reduce the noise level, pollution level. In countries like India, we can't afford that. We have to have flights day and night for us to be able to sustain the kind of traffic as well as this thing that we do. So I think anything in terms of comparison between one country and the other, it definitely needs to be tempered with what the priorities of that particular country are. But having said that, we do have international regulations. We have right in front of us the UN SDG, which is applicable right across, and then coming specifically to shipping, we're looking at IMO 2050 as well. So those which are the minimum standards, so to speak, I think India is quite geared. It's well conscious, and it's moving positively in that direction. The other thing which I also want to mention here is that people have to understand that within a port or within a terminal inside the port, land is at a huge premium. So we have minimum opportunity for us to be able to localize the kind of setting up of solar panels or whatever. But within that, because of our own thrust, whatever small opportunity we get, whenever we get, we capitalize on that. So if you see the recent actions taken by us in our own ports, earlier on we had a parking lot where cars used to come and park. Now we've covered them, and on those covers we put solar panels. So we are able to generate a little bit more electricity out of that. Our admin buildings are covered with solar panels. Workshops are covered with solar panels. And in a few opportunities where we have some fallow land, which we are not able to use or effectively for our own port operations, immediately we will cover that and put up some solar panels there. So those are the kind of initiatives that we are taking here. Suffice to say that when we're talking, to be fair to the other GTOs also, not just PSA, but other GTOs also, I think we are very conscious of this. We're prepared to invest the money that goes into necessary to maintain these goals. And it is something that is a priority and a forefront to all of us. So these are some of the opportunities and challenges that we're facing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I will again come to you. Before this, we are having Mr. Abhay Udeshi, who is the chairman, CHEMEXCIL. We will listen from you on the front of production side, like from the industry side. Sir, we wanted to know that how your company is ensuring the sustainability of the castor oil production process, and how your company is using renewable energy resources to power the manufacturing facilities.
Thank you, Bombay Chamber, for inviting me. So I'm also the chairman of CHEMEXCIL, as you rightly said. So I also represent CHEMEXCIL, and as a chemical industry, we as such are working in a very sustainable environment. We need to improve, but we need to also ensure that the future is there for all of us. So now coming on the castor oil production, because that's the industry I represent. So castor oil and its various oleochemicals, is a very versatile product that goes for n number of products. Now, all I have been hearing about here is all about fuels, biofuel, etc., etc., etc. Castor can be one of them as well, but there are so many materials that are used, made out of castor oil, that can go in for a lot of good industries like airplanes, and I'm sure it also goes into the shipbuilding. So I think looking at that in the circular economy, where, castor oil is an agri-product, it is, is used as a material in the circular economy. And I think that's where we again touch base with the agriculture. Now, when you're talking about sustainability, we start first with the agriculture. And here we start not only with the environment. Environment is, of course, a very important factor, but we also look at the social aspects and the governance aspect. So looking at the, in castor oil, what we have done over the last 10 years was, we started an activity on the farming side, whereby we first developed what is called as the success code, the farming code, which engages ourselves with the farmers. So we were 4 companies that we started doing this exercise, working with the farmers and making the farmer code, which is success. So success is SU stands for sustainable, C stands for castor, C again stands for caring, and environment and social standards. So that's the full meaning of the word success. So we engage with the farmers. We are right at the farming level, whereby the farmer saves cost on the environment by, producing more from the same land that he has. He saves on the water, and he saves on, the productivity is more, so input cost is less. And by using good farming practices, there is almost a 30% increase in productivity, 30% less water consumption, and 30% less input cost. So that is called sustainability for the farmer. Besides that, you're looking at, the challenges are umpteen, but, the next generation of farming is very important. Because if I go and meet the farmers across, there's a big challenge. The next generation does not want to go into farming. And how are we going to remain sustainable when wonderful molecules that can go into the circular economy of this world and pave the way for, sustainability in the future?
Thank you, sir. You have embedded in the word success itself in your company. So now I will request the audience, if you have any question, then kindly, mics are ready. We are left with only, ma'am, we can take another 5 minutes if possible for the Q&A. Okay, 2 questions, please. Mic, please.
My question is for Mr. Ajay Singh Kumar. That as of now, India is not a bunkering station as far as the global standard has been concerned. And one of the major reason is that irregularities in the tariffs because of the interventions of the states governments. So after we are discussing that we are into exploring the new energies, which is green energy or blue energy. So are we aiming for any kind of like bunkering stations for green energy or blue energy is concerned, for which is futuristic?
Number one is very famous, Petronet LNG in Cochin. They have LNG bunkering ongoing. For the future plans, I would say there are plans in Kandla Port for methanol bunkering, which is in the west coast of India. And there is another plan in Galathea Bay coming up. So that would be another, not sure about the alternative fuels, which one, but there will be bunkering station there as well. And as far as I know, there are other ports as well which are looking after bunkering stations to be installed or to be set up in the port areas. So there are things happening. There are initiatives from the government as well, and you will see the difference maybe next 5 years.
Thank you. I think we have done with all the inputs from eminent panelists. And we have heard from both the sides, like from the governmental aspect, from the stakeholder, from the industry side. And with these inputs, it's also very great day for us to start with this particular session. And we are confident that considering all these new developments and the processes, the steps taken, we will be achieving the goals that has been envisioned in India 2047 and also the revised strategy that IMO has envisaged in 2050's IMO greenhouse gas emission reduction strategy. So thank you all once again. Thank you. Thank you audience for patient hearing.
Thank you so much, everyone. Request you all to kindly remain seated at the dais. As we conclude, I invite Ms. Pinky Mehta, Mr. Anil Radhakrishnan, and Mr. Sandeep Khosla to present mementos to our speakers as a token of our appreciation. Thank you. A big round of applause, please, everybody. Thank you.
ఇప్పుడు మాగే